Weird habit number one, you narrate your own actions. Most people assume talking to yourself means you're anxious, distracted, or overwhelmed. In reality, it often means your brain is operating at a higher level than the situation requires. High IQ minds don't just think in single thoughts, they think in clusters. Multiple outcomes, hidden variables, future consequences, and alternate routes are all being processed at the same time. When that internal load gets heavy, the brain externalizes part of the process by speaking. This isn't emotional rambling, it's structured guidance. Phrases like, start here, that won't work, or try the other angle, are signs of executive control in action. By hearing the thought out loud, the brain slows it down, inspects it, and refines it. Research on self-directed speech shows it improves problem-solving accuracy and impulse regulation, traits strongly associated with higher intelligence. This habit appears most often during low-stimulus movement, walking, pacing, driving, or showering. Movement activates planning networks in the brain, giving abstract thought more room to unfold. Low-level self-talk is emotional and repetitive. High-level self-talk is instructional and corrective. One reacts to the world, the other prepares for it. Weird habit number two, you pause before responding. Most people treat silence like a social emergency. Someone asks a question and their brain panics, blurts something out, and hopes it sounds intelligent on the way down. High IQ brains don't do that. They pause and know it's not because they're buffering. When intelligent people hear a question, their brain doesn't grab the first available answer. It runs a quick background check. What's being asked? What's actually being meant? What are the consequences of saying this out loud? That pause isn't hesitation, it's quality control. The brain deletes bad takes before they escape. This comes from stronger executive function in the prefrontal cortex, responsible for planning, judgment, and impulse control. Instead of reacting emotionally, the brain inserts a brief, let's not embarrass ourselves moment. Silence often gets misread as awkward or uninterested. In reality, it's restraint. Low control minds speak to relieve pressure. High control minds speak when there's something worth saying. Weird habit number three, you overthink everything, even things that don't matter. Most people treat overthinking like a flaw or a one-way ticket to unnecessary stress. But for highly intelligent brains, overthinking isn't the problem, it's the side effect. When your brain naturally scans for patterns, risks, and outcomes, it doesn't shut off just because the situation is not that deep. High IQ minds automatically run mental simulations. What if this goes wrong? What's the hidden variable? What's the long-term consequence nobody's mentioning? This constant analysis helps intelligent people avoid mistakes others walk straight into. The downside is that the same processing power gets applied to trivial decisions, like spending 15 minutes analyzing a text that just says "lol." Neurologically, this comes from heightened activity in networks tied to foresight and error detection. Low-level overthinking spirals emotionally. High-level overthinking evaluates logically. One panics, the other prepares. If your brain refuses to let things go, it's not broken. It's just running more scenarios than most people notice. Weird habit number four, you get bored extremely easily. Boredom hits intelligent people differently. While most brains are content with routine, repetition, and small talk that goes nowhere, high IQ brains start to itch when there's not enough stimulation. It's not arrogance, it's supply and demand. When your brain processes information quickly, low-complexity environments run out of fuel fast. Highly intelligent minds crave novelty, challenge, and depth. When a task or conversation stops offering new information, the brain disengages. That's why intelligent people often appear restless or mentally checked out in meetings, lectures, or social settings that feel painfully slow. Their brain isn't lazy, it's underutilized. This comes from higher baseline activity in regions responsible for pattern recognition and abstract reasoning. Once the pattern is solved, the brain wants to move on. Boredom is often mistaken for impatience or disinterest. In reality, it's mental starvation. If boredom feels physically uncomfortable, it's not because you lack discipline. Your brain just needs better problems. If this made way too much sense, hit subscribe. We break down the weird habits your brain never got credit for. Weird habit number five, you talk less in groups. In group conversations, there's usually one person talking just to make sure everyone knows they're talking. That person is not you. Highly intelligent people tend to go quiet in groups and know it's not social anxiety, it's selective participation. When voices overlap, repeat the same points, or compete for airtime, a high IQ brain quickly decides the return on investment isn't great. Instead of jumping in immediately, intelligent minds observe. They track what's being said, where the conversation is going, and whether adding another comment would improve it. Most of the time, the answer is no, so they stay silent, not because they have nothing to say, but because they're filtering out redundancy. This comes from stronger cognitive inhibition, the brain's ability to suppress unnecessary output. While others speak to be noticed, intelligent people speak to be precise. Silence often gets misread as shyness or disengagement. In reality, it's efficiency. When they do speak, it's brief, relevant, and cuts straight through the noise. Weird habit number 6. Your sleep schedule makes no sense. Most people fall asleep because it's late. Intelligent people fall asleep because their brain finally ran out of interesting things to think about. If your sleep schedule looks less like a routine and more like a science experiment, you're not alone, and you're not broken. High IQ brains stay alert longer because they don't shut down easily. When external stimulation fades, internal stimulation turns on. Ideas connect, questions surface. Random thoughts turn into full debates at 1:47 a.m. The body is tired, but the brain is wide awake, pacing like it remembered something important from years ago. This happens because intelligent minds show higher activity in default mode networks responsible for imagination, memory, and abstract thought. These networks don't care what time it is. They care whether the problem feels finished. As a result, sleep becomes delayed, inconsistent, or oddly timed. This habit often gets labeled poor discipline. In reality, it's delayed mental disengagement. When your brain struggles to power down, it isn't resisting sleep, it's still processing. Weird habit. Number 7, you question rules everyone else accepts. Most people follow rules because they exist. Intelligent people follow rules only after asking, does this actually make sense? If the answer is unclear, inconsistent, or based on that's just how it's done, their internal alarm goes off immediately. High IQ minds analyze systems, not just operate inside them. When a rule appears, the brain checks its logic, origin, efficiency, and whether it still serves a purpose. If it fails that inspection, compliance drops fast, not from rebellion, but curiosity mixed with disbelief. This trait comes from stronger analytical reasoning and pattern detection. Intelligent people notice when rules contradict themselves, reward the wrong behavior, or exist mainly to maintain control. While others adapt automatically, high IQ brains pause and ask why the structure exists. This habit is often mistaken for being difficult or non-compliant. In reality, it's optimization. Questioning rules leads to better systems, fewer inefficiencies, and innovation. Many major improvements began when someone challenged the way it's always been done. Weird habit number 8. You replay conversations in your head. Most conversations end when people walk away. Yours get a director's cut and a full mental rewatch at 2 a.m. If you replay conversations long after they're over, it's not obsession. Your brain treats social interaction like data. High IQ minds don't just remember what was said, they analyze tone, timing, pauses, word choice, and what wasn't said. After the interaction ends, the brain replays it to spot patterns, missteps, or hidden meaning. Not to punish you, but to refine future responses. This habit comes from heightened memory and evaluation networks. Intelligent people constantly update internal models of how people think and behave. Conversations become raw material for improvement, not emotional baggage. This often gets mislabeled as overthinking or social anxiety. In reality, it's post-processing. Your brain doesn't discard useful information, it studies it. If you revisit conversations after others move on, you're not stuck in the past, you're updating the software. Weird habit number 9, you enjoy being alone. More than you admit, some people hate being alone because silence makes them uncomfortable. Intelligent people enjoy it because silence gives their brain breathing room. When you spend time thinking, analyzing, and observing, social environments can feel noisy, even when nothing is technically wrong. High IQ minds process conversations deeply. Tone, intent, subtext, and social dynamics run in the background, and that input is mentally expensive. Being alone shuts off the noise and lets the brain reset, explore ideas, or wander without interruption. This preference isn't antisocial, it's cognitive efficiency. Time alone helps intelligent people recharge and focus on creative or analytical work without constant context switching. Many insights happen in quiet, solitary moments for a reason. This often gets misread as introversion or detachment. In reality, it's selective energy use. Intelligent people don't avoid others. They just don't need constant interaction to feel stimulated. If alone time feels productive instead of lonely, your brain isn't withdrawing, it's refueling. Weird habit number 10, you second guess yourself, constantly. From the outside, second guessing looks like insecurity. From the inside, it's your brain refusing to settle for the first answer. Highly intelligent people don't just ask, is this right? They ask, is this right or just convenient? High IQ minds recognize uncertainty. They know how often confidence is misplaced and how many mistakes come from rushing to certainty. Instead of locking in immediately, the brain rechecks assumptions, revisits evidence, and tests alternate explanations. Annoying? Yes. Useful? Extremely. This habit is tied to metacognition, thinking about your own thinking. Intelligent people notice gaps, biases, and blind spots others miss. That awareness produces doubt not from insecurity, but from understanding complexity. This often gets mistaken for low self-esteem. In reality, it's intellectual humility. The loudest confidence often comes from not questioning enough. If you second guess before committing, you're not unsure, you're careful. If you recognized yourself in more than a few of these, congratulations. Your brain is doing extra work most people don't notice. These habits don't look impressive on the surface, but they quietly shape better decisions, sharper thinking, and fewer catastrophic mistakes. And yes, it's exhausting, but at least now you know it's not accidental.